Sonic the Hedgehog. He's one of gaming's most beloved characters and he's been sticking it up for well over 20 years. In fact, this year marks Sonic's 25th anniversary. Now despite Sonic's games being very hit or miss these days, they have introduced some pretty awesome characters and I'm sure a lot of us fans have found a couple we really enjoy. So with that said, here is Decadent Gamer's top 10 Sonic characters. Kicking off my list at number 10 is Team Chaotix. Yeah, I know that technically it's 3 characters, but honestly, they're pretty much a hive unit, so I had to include all 3 of them together. Team Chaotix made their debut in Knuckles Chaotix released for the Sega 32X, and made their popular return in Sonic Heroes. The best thing about Team Chaotix was that in Sonic Heroes, they had an entirely different gameplay formula compared to the other teams, and it really provided a nice change of pace. So now, let me explain why I like the characters. Espio is just badass in my opinion. I mean, he's a freaking ninja. I also think it's clever that they made him a chameleon of all creatures because those critters are like the masters of stealth. His design looks great and I like how level-headed and calm he is. He's pretty much the voice of reason in the group, and without him, I doubt the team would stay focused on their objectives, so he's an essential member of the trio. Next up is Vector. Vector may have a big mouth and be a tad money hungry, but deep down you know he's a loyal guy who looks out for his friends. His design just rocks, and his attacks in Sonic Heroes are pretty creative. I mean, he shoots bubblegum bubbles of destruction. He's pretty much the leader of the group and he's fairly good at what he does. And last we have Charmy. Okay, I'm not a big Charmy fan. His voice is so high-pitched and obnoxious.
Time to rock and roll!
But nonetheless, as annoying as Charmy can be, he's a good parallel with his teammates as he offers a more lighthearted feel to the serious tone of Espio and to an extent Vector. But I'll admit that he has a cute design, so yeah, even though he's not my most favorite of the Team Chaotix trio, he's still an essential character and works well with Vector and Espio. That all said, I wouldn't mind seeing a modern Team Chaotix spin-off game, but that's a discussion for another day. So yeah, Team Chaotix grabs number 10. Number 9 goes to Fang the Sniper, also known as Fang the Weasel. Fang made his first game appearance in Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble, but he's most known for his appearance in Sonic the Fighters, which was a fighting game spin-off. When I first saw him in Sonic the Fighters, I thought he was the most badass looking character I've ever seen, but man was his popkin annoying to go up against. I still think he has a very cool design, and his look just screams bounty hunter, which is actually his chosen profession. His design is pretty simple, but at the same time, I really like it. I mean, look at that awesome hat of his. Man, I just really love his design. While I haven't read the Archie comics, from what I learned of him, he's a greedy, money-hungry treasure hunter who will go as far as turning on his allies just to make a quick buck. Wow. What a bastard. I'm pretty disappointed that he hasn't been featured in more games, because he definitely make for a good mini antagonist. So even though he hasn't made a game appearance since Sonic the Fighters, I still really like this character. Come on Sega, bring him back, please. Number 8 goes to Rouge the Bat. She's definitely one of the cooler female characters added to the series. She made her debut in Sonic Adventure 2, and has become a staple character ever since. I feel like she gets a lot of undeserved hate just because of her design and how some people call her things like slut and whore, when she hasn't done anything that portrayed her as such. Okay, she does have a slightly sexual design compared to the other female characters. I mean, come on, they gave her freaking breast jiggle physics. But aside from that, she's smart, cunning, and as shown in Sonic 06, she's loyal to those she cares about. She was also a fairly good rival for Knuckles. I'd love to hear more of her backstory sometime, since we don't know much about her, other than her being a spy and having an obsession with jewels. She also has one of the most creative theme songs I've ever heard in a video game. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her in future games.
How is that? Perfect? Like me?
Next up is Silver the Hedgehog. Yeah, I know that he debuted in the worst Sonic game ever made that nearly killed the franchise, but despite that, I still really like Silver as a character. It's just a case of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, you can't blame the poor guy. I like Silver as a character because he's optimistic, kind, and means well despite his naivety. No one is perfect and Silver is a good portrayal of that. He made mistakes, but he tried to fix them. Another cool thing about him was his telekinetic powers. Telekinesis is my favorite superpower of all superpowers, so he definitely got extra brownie points for that, even though his boss battle was a major pain in the ass in Sonic 06. However, his redundant battle in Sonic Generations was just pure epic. Seriously, that's the way it should have been from the start, and Silver definitely redeemed himself here. I have to admit that I didn't like his design much at first. It looked way over the top compared to Sonic in Shadows, but I eventually came around. It actually isn't that bad. Silver hasn't made a main playable appearance since Sonic 06, and it's a shame because with some tweaking in his gameplay, He'd definitely be a very fun character to play as, so I really hope that he makes another playable appearance in the future. So don't worry, Silver, you may have debuted in the worst Sonic game of all time, but you're still loved by a lot of us fans. Coming in at number 6 is Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman has to be one of the most awesome video game villains of all time. Okay, I can admit that even though his background claims that he has an IQ of over 300, he's not a very smart guy with how he adds flaws in his mechanical creations. But hey, they had to give him some weakness, I suppose. It's obvious that they intended for Eggman to not be taken seriously. I mean, look at him! He's shaped like an egg, with skinny arms and legs, but despite his laughable design, he's just boasting of personality and charisma. Now, while I still believe that Dr. Eggman was at his best in the Sonic Adventure games, I actually don't mind that they made him more comedic in the games after them. It really works for him, and I'll even go as far to say that as much as I don't care for the Sonic Boom cartoon, Dr. Eggman just makes that show. Seriously, I find myself laughing at a lot of his lines, and I gotta say, it's cool to see him interact with the good guys on a friendly level every now and then. But most of all, out of all the Sonic characters, Dr. Eggman actually managed to stay consistently likable in the later games. So I just had to include Dr. Eggman on this list, as he definitely deserves it. Coming in at number 5 is Blaze the Cat. Blaze is a princess from an alternate dimension who first debuted in Sonic Rush for the Nintendo DS. She has made some appearances in a few other games as well. Blaze is definitely my most favorite female character in the Sonic franchise. She's calm, level-headed, and brave. She also has the ability of pyrokinesis, a power that allows her to manipulate fire in any way she chooses. Her design is pretty cool as well. I really like the fur cuffs on her coat and boots. I also like the slight tribal theme she gives off. Blaze is pretty much the female Sonic, and that's just awesome. If you ask me, Blaze should be a main character at this point, as she's one of the more deeper characters in terms of story and personality. I really do hope that she appears in more games as a playable character. Coming in at number 4 is Tails. Ah, good old Tails. Tails has been with Sonic practically since the beginning. Making his debut in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Sega Genesis, Tails has come a long way as a character. He went from the adorable sidekick to an intelligent techno-whiz kid. I personally believe that he was at his best in the first Sonic Adventure game, as it was a great transition from his classic 2D gameplay into 3D with his flying abilities. It's a shame that he hasn't been playable in recent games, but I like how the writers have kept him relevant to the main story. After all, with Sonic's occasional carelessness, he needs Tails to keep him out of trouble. His design is just adorable. Seriously, one of the most adorable designs in the Sonic franchise. I mean, you can't help but want to give him a big hug when you see him. Well, at least in my opinion. Like Sonic, Tails is an iconic character, and he deserves all the love that he gets. It's always good to see the two-tailed fox in each new game. Okay guys, I know that Sonic is the title character who started it all, and some of you are probably pissed that I put him at number 3, but hear me out! I love Sonic, I really do, but there were 2 other characters that I like slightly more. Again, this doesn't mean that I think Sonic is a bad character. In fact, compared to the other video game mascots of the 90s, Sonic is hands down my most favorite. Now I gotta be honest, my first exposure to Sonic the Hedgehog was Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, released in 1993. I never played a Sonic game up until Sonic Advance in 2001. Believe me, I wish I had played his games earlier, but growing up, I only had a PS1, not a Sega Genesis nor a Sega Dreamcast. So unfortunately, I missed out on the 2D era of Sonic as well as the first 2 Sonic Adventure games that were originally released on the Dreamcast. Anyway, while I did like Sonic in the cartoons, when I finally got around to playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and shortly after Sonic Adventure DX, I found myself liking Sonic as a whole character. He's just so damn likable. He's friendly, he's adventurous, and he's very carefree. And his theme songs are pure greatness. But then again, I love rock music, so of course I'd end up liking his theme songs. I love his design, both classic and modern. Seriously, his quills, his shade of blue that seems to catch your eye. His design may not be the most detailed, but he still manages to look radical. And I think it's cool that he got into the Super Smash Bros. Series, which is ironic since he originally started out as Mario's rival. Now you have the chance to watch him duke it out. Sonic is a true video game icon, and as much as his games have been on a slight downward hill in recent years, he'll always be one of my most favorite video game mascots of all time. Rock on, Sonic! He's rough as nails and it ain't hard to tell. Aw yeah, number 2 goes to the Big Red himself, Knuckles the Echidna. Knuckles was originally my number 1 favorite character in the Sonic franchise. I remember when I was a kid, whenever my friends and I would roleplay as Sonic characters, we each had our own personal character, and mine was Knuckles. Man, those were the days. Knuckles made his debut in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and has been a staple character ever since. From the get-go, his design rocks. I love his dreadlocked quills, and simply his all-around look. And while he may be a tad short-tempered and gullible, he generally means well and is someone you can rely on when you find yourself in a jam. A Sonic jam. Okay, that was bad. But as much as I love Knuckles, I can't help but feel disappointed with how he's been treated in the newer games. He used to be a serious, strong, and independent loner with a heart of gold, but now he's a dim-witted idiot who is now the butt of all jokes, especially in Sonic Boom.
Hey, little fella! Oh gosh, you're cute! Well, look at you!
Though I will admit, I actually do like his redesign. For the most part, it fits him quite well. I just can't stand his change of personality. But as much as I hate how much they changed his personality, he'll always be one of my all-time favorite characters because of how cool he used to be, and I always smile whenever I see him. Knuckles might not be my #1 favorite character anymore, but he'll always hold a special place inside of me. I'm pretty sure you all know what #1 is, but before I do the reveal, here's a quick recap. Number 10, Team Chaotix. Number 9, Fang. Number 8, Rouge. Number 7, Silver. Number 6, Dr. Eggman. Number 5, Blaze. Number 4, Tails. Number 3, Sonic. Number 2, Knuckles. And finally, number 1. Okay. I'm pretty sure most of you already knew Shadow was going to be number 1. Shadow seems to be a huge favorite for a lot of people, me included, but can you blame us? Shadow made his debut in Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast, and since then, he's been one of the most popular characters in the franchise. I know that Shadow is undeniably overrated, and I really want to have Knuckles as my number 1, but you know what? I can't deny how much I love Shadow. When I first saw him in Sonic Adventure 2, he instantly caught my attention. For one, he has a kick-ass design with an interesting backstory. To say that Shadow is just an evil clone of Sonic is a very false statement. In fact, with Shadow's tragic backstory, he's easily one of the more deeper characters in the franchise. Shadow was originally supposed to be a one-shot character, as evidenced from his brave and noble sacrifice at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. But due to his popularity, he was brought back as Sonic Heroes, and the rest is history. He even got his own spin-off game that explained more about his past and how he survived the ending of Sonic Adventure 2, but ironically, the game was a huge flop and totally ruined Shadow's character. The game had a stupid, unnecessary story, and I hated how they turned him into an unlikable, angst-ridden anti-hero. And worst of all was the inclusion of the evil aliens. Seriously? Ugh. So yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog nearly killed the character's reputation, but he was later redeemed in Sonic 06. Yeah, you heard me. Sonic 06 is still easily the worst Sonic game ever made, but if there's one thing they did right, it was how they handled Shadow. In this game, he's now a special agent of Gun, alongside with Rouge, which I think works really well for him. He also returned back to his old personality, which totally redeemed his character, and made him likable again. He may have had one horrible game, but it doesn't erase how great he was in his debut in Sonic Adventure 2, and in Sonic Heroes, along with 06. To this day, I still believe Shadow is the best rival character Sonic has ever had, with his awesome design, interesting backstory, and his awesome chaos powers. Yeah, he's had some down moments, but the good moments definitely outweigh the bad. So for all these reasons, Shadow is and always will be my number 1 favorite Sonic character in the whole series. And there you have it, folks. Those are my top 10 favorite Sonic characters. I hope you all enjoyed this video because this was a very hard list to make. But I had a blast at the same time because taking a look at all these characters again dropped a heavy bomb of nostalgia on me. So with all that said, I'd love to see your top 10 Sonic characters. Who are your favorites? Leave a comment down below. And again, thanks for watching. Oh hey there! I'd like to again thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more video game related videos, please hit the subscribe button as it really helps this channel out a lot. In the meantime, why not check out my latest top 10 video of female protagonists in video games, because these ladies deserve some recognition. That said, I will catch you in the next video. Take care guys!